The frustration is raw and unmistakable. Emotions spill over as accusations fly, with voices insisting that the truth has been twisted. What began as quiet resentment now feels like something that can no longer be contained. According to growing reports, Robyn Brown may have taken far more than anyone ever imagined, and Kody Brown may not have realized it until it was far too late. For years, viewers believed they were watching the full story unfold on television. The arguments, the tears, the separations, it all seemed painfully public. But insiders now claim that the real drama was happening far away from the cameras. While fans focused on emotional breakdowns and fractured relationships, Robyn was allegedly putting a calculated financial plan into motion, one that would ultimately leave Kody isolated, overwhelmed with debt, and legally powerless. From the outside, Robyn appeared to be the devoted and loyal wife. Yet behind the scenes, sources suggest she was quietly consolidating control over nearly everything the family owned. Homes, vehicles, and business interests were reportedly shifted into her name, while loans and liabilities remained attached solely to Kody. If these claims are accurate, the outcome was devastating. Robyn secured stability for herself and her children, while Kody was left exposed. The seeds of this imbalance may have been planted early. Ever since Robyn joined the family in 2010, fans noticed a clear shift. Kody's attention gravitated toward her. She received more time, more emotional investment, and, according to some, more financial consideration. The family tried to present a united front, but subtle signs of inequality were impossible to ignore. Over time, those small cracks widened into deep fractures. Christine was the first to leave in 2021. Janelle followed. Before you go, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button and join our YouTube family. Thank you for your support. Mary eventually distanced herself as well. Though each departure had its own story, the underlying themes were strikingly similar: favoritism, emotional neglect, and Kody's growing obsession with Robyn. What few people realized then was that Robyn's influence may not have been limited to Kody's heart alone. Financial red flags began to surface as the years passed. Kody's ambitious plans for developing land at Coyote Pass drained money at an alarming rate. At the same time, income from the family's TLC show began to shrink, no longer keeping pace with their increasingly expensive lifestyle. Despite the strain, Robyn continued living comfortably in a lavish Flagstaff home, while the other wives downsized or rented more modest properties. Then, toward the end of 2024, everything changed. Leaked documents reportedly revealed that a majority of the family's key assets had been transferred into Robyn's name. Even more troubling, many of the debts tied to those assets remained in Kody's name alone. The result was a legal and financial imbalance that left Robyn protected and Kody dangerously vulnerable. Insiders claim this was not accidental. According to sources, Robyn may have been laying the groundwork as early as 2012. First, she became Kody's emotional safe haven, the one wife who always supported his vision and reinforced his authority. Over time, he came to rely on her judgment, even in matters involving money and property. Next came the transfer of assets. Homes and properties were gradually placed under Robyn's ownership or joint control with her alone. When the other wives questioned these decisions, Kody dismissed their concerns, insisting they didn't understand the bigger picture. Business entities followed. Robyn allegedly established multiple LLCs under the guise of family enterprises, while family funds quietly flowed into accounts she controlled. At the same time, debt mounted. Kody reportedly took on large loans and mortgages with the belief that he and Robyn were in it together. In reality, those debts were legally his responsibility, while the assets tied to them were not. It was a setup that would only reveal its full impact much later. The collapse came suddenly. Foreclosure notices began appearing. Creditors started calling. Kody, who had ignored warning signs for years, was forced to confront a reality he never expected. He discovered that he had no legal claim to the Flagstaff mansion he believed was his home. His name was missing from vehicle titles and bank accounts he thought were shared. The most devastating revelation was yet to come. Large sums of family money had allegedly been moved into private accounts that Kody could not access. When confronted, Robyn reportedly told him she was protecting herself and her children, accusing Kody of being financially reckless and unreliable. Why would she do it? Those close to the situation offer several explanations. Some say Robyn was driven by self-preservation. Having watched the other wives leave with limited security, she was determined not to end up in the same position. Others believe resentment played a role. Years of financial stress, failed investments, and unstable income may have convinced her that drastic action was necessary. There is also a more shocking theory that Robyn was planning her exit long before anyone suspected. By securing assets in her name, she would be free to leave and start over, without legal entanglements. Rumors have even surfaced suggesting she has been seen exploring housing options outside Arizona and socializing with someone new. The fallout has been brutal. Those close to Kody describe him as devastated and humiliated. For a man who prided himself on leadership and control, the realization that he had been outmaneuvered was crushing. One friend claims Kody admitted he felt completely used. Christine and Janelle were reportedly unsurprised. Janelle is said to have remarked that Kody made his choices and now must live with them. Christine allegedly laughed it off, calling it karma. Mary, long detached from the family dynamic, has remained largely silent. Robyn herself has offered no public response. Neighbors in Flagstaff describe her as calm and unbothered, continuing her routine as if nothing has changed. Kody, however, has not been seen with her. Legal experts suggest his options are limited. Because the transfers appear to have been voluntary and legal, proving coercion would be extremely difficult. Bankruptcy may be his only remaining path. As for the future, speculation is rampant. Robyn may be preparing for a new chapter, possibly outside plural marriage altogether. TLC has yet to confirm the fate of Sister Wives, but ratings have surged amid the controversy. Spin-offs are already being discussed, including projects focused on Christine's new life or the next generation of Brown children. What remains undeniable is this: the power dynamic has completely shifted. Kody Brown once stood at the center of a sprawling family empire. Now, that structure has collapsed. Whether Robyn is viewed as a survivor or a strategist, her actions have permanently altered the course of the Brown family, and Kody is left to face the consequences alone. From the moment Kody began courting Robyn, the shift was impossible to miss. It wasn't subtle, and it wasn't imagined. Family members felt it, viewers saw it, and even Kody himself seemed powerless against it. He was openly captivated. Robyn was younger, more modern in her appearance, and arrived with 3 children from a previous marriage. Almost immediately, she was treated differently. Unlike the other wives, Robyn was not expected to fully integrate into the shared household structure. She was given space, privacy, and freedoms the others had never known. While plural marriage had always required sacrifice and compromise, Robyn appeared exempt from many of those expectations. Kody spent noticeably more time with her, often choosing her home over the others. What might have been explained away as new relationship energy instead became a persistent, painful pattern. For Mary and Janelle, the emotional impact was devastating. Jealousy was only part of it. What cut deeper was the growing realization that they were no longer central to Kody's life. They felt replaced, sidelined, and emotionally abandoned. The man who once divided his time, however imperfectly, now seemed singularly focused. Janelle, often described as the family's steady anchor, had always played a unique role. She worked outside the home, contributed financially, and rarely demanded emotional reassurance. She was independent, practical, and resilient. For years, she had accepted that plural marriage required flexibility. But Robyn's arrival changed the balance entirely. In later interviews, Janelle admitted that she began to feel invisible. Her sacrifices no longer seemed to matter. The effort she had poured into the family, financially and emotionally, was suddenly taken for granted. She watched as Robyn received attention, validation, and care that Janelle had learned to live without. "He stopped trying," she once admitted. everything became about Robyn. Rather than fight for scraps of affection, Janelle quietly withdrew. She poured her energy into her children and her work, slowly building emotional distance as a form of self-preservation. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud, but it was decisive. Mary's pain cut differently. As the first wife, her bond with Kody had always carried deep emotional and spiritual weight. They shared decades of history, but also deep wounds. After suffering a miscarriage and being unable to have more children, Mary struggled with feelings of inadequacy long before Robyn entered the picture. Still, Mary held on to hope. She believed their connection was strong enough to survive anything. That belief shattered when Robyn arrived. Mary watched Kody become affectionate, attentive, and emotionally present in a way she hadn't experienced in years, but not with her. It was like he forgot I existed, she once said through tears. That pain never fully healed. Robyn's arrival didn't just add another wife. It shifted the emotional center of the entire family. The balance that had held, however imperfectly, for years began to collapse. As Kody devoted more time, energy, and affection to Robyn, the original foundation eroded beneath everyone else. Mary and Janelle tried to speak up. Again and again, Mary attempted to explain how deeply she was hurting. Each time, Kody dismissed her feelings as jealousy or insecurity. Her emotional needs went unmet for years, leaving her isolated within her own marriage. Eventually, both Mary and Janelle reached a breaking point. According to those close to the family, they confronted Kody multiple times, sometimes separately, sometimes together, demanding answers and accountability. One confrontation, partially captured on camera, became a defining moment. Janelle told him plainly, "You've forgotten the rest of us. You're so focused on Robyn and her kids that you don't even see us anymore." Mary followed quietly but firmly, saying, "We're here just to make you feel good about yourself. You don't care about us the way you used to." Kody's response only deepened the wound. Defensive and uncomfortable, he insisted he was doing his best. Then came the words they would never forget. "Robyn needs me more right now." To the women who had stood beside him for decades, that statement felt like a final betrayal. And it wasn't just talk. The patterns were undeniable. Kody spent the majority of his nights at Robyn's home. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he enforced strict rules that kept him away from certain wives and children, while continuing to live full-time with Robyn. Financial inequality grew sharper. Robyn lived in the largest, most expensive home in Flagstaff, while Mary and Janelle struggled in rentals and temporary housing. Emotionally, the divide was even wider. Date nights disappeared. Check-ins stopped. Conversations became shallow or non-existent. The children noticed, and they spoke up. Several of Janelle's older sons, particularly Gabriel and Garrison, confronted their father on camera. They asked why he was absent, why he favored Robyn's household, and why they felt abandoned. These were not rebellious outbursts. They were pleas for connection. As the wives drifted apart, new alliances formed. Janelle and Christine grew closer, united by shared frustration and mutual respect. Mary retreated inward, still clinging to the hope that things might change. Robyn, whether intentionally or not, became the focus of resentment, seen by many as the wedge that split the family. Kody's authority crumbled. His refusal to address the growing divide alienated him from the very people he claimed to lead. Robyn, for her part, has always insisted she never intended to hurt anyone. She has said she needed more from Kody to survive in a family that already had decades of history. "I just wanted to be loved and accepted," she claimed. "I became the scapegoat for everything that went wrong." But many, including Janelle, Mary, and longtime viewers, believe Robyn saw the damage unfolding and chose not to intervene. Whether by action or silence, she benefited while others suffered. Janelle finally reached her breaking point in late 2022. She announced her separation from Kody, citing emotional neglect and blatant favoritism. "I realized I deserved better," she said. "I couldn't keep living like a ghost in my own marriage." Her departure was painful, but freeing. She moved into her own space, reconnected with her children, and began rebuilding her life on her own terms. Mary's journey took longer. She waited, hoping the man she once loved would return. But after years of rejection, and after Kody openly admitted he no longer considered them married, she walked away in early 2023. "I finally understood he wasn't going to change," she said. "I had to save myself." Today, both women are thriving. Janelle has become a symbol of resilience, spending time with her children and grandchildren, traveling, and rediscovering herself. Mary has focused on her business ventures, personal growth, and even dating again. Clear signs she has finally closed that chapter. Kody remains with Robyn, the last wife standing. But even that relationship appears strained under the weight of everything that's happened. Without the buffer of other marriages, the cracks are harder to ignore. And then there was the moment that came to symbolize everything: the birthday Kody missed. Gabriel Brown's birthday should have been a celebration. Birthdays were sacred in the Brown family, moments when each child felt seen. But Kody didn't show up, not even briefly. For Janelle, it was heartbreaking. For Gabriel, it was devastating. This wasn't about cake or gifts. It was about a son realizing his father had emotionally checked out. Gabriel had always idolized Kody. Sensitive and passionate, he just wanted his dad's approval. But as Kody spent more time at Robyn's house, Gabriel felt increasingly invisible. The COVID rules, which seemed designed to protect Robyn's household above all else, only intensified the resentment. When his birthday came and went without his father, something broke. That moment became a symbol of a fractured family. The Browns once claimed they were proof that modern polygamy could work. For a while it almost did. But over time, favoritism, neglect, and silence tore it apart. And in the end, Janelle and Mary made the same choice. They chose themselves. Gabriel's birthday marked a point of no return. What had once been simmering tension turned into something unmistakably broken. For Janelle, watching her son process that absence was unbearable. She later admitted that seeing Gabriel's disappointment forced her to confront a truth she had been avoiding for years. Kody was no longer emotionally present for her children, and there was nothing she could do to change that. Gabriel tried to be understanding at first. He rationalized it. He told himself his father was busy, overwhelmed, or constrained by circumstances beyond his control. But the longer the silence stretched, the harder it became to ignore the pattern. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was part of a larger withdrawal. In one of the most heartbreaking moments ever captured on the show, Gabriel broke down on camera while recounting how his father had forgotten his birthday entirely. His voice shook as he described waiting for a call that never came. For viewers, it was devastating. For Janelle, it was the final confirmation that the marriage and the family had fundamentally changed. Kody, when confronted, attempted to justify himself. He cited stress, responsibility, COVID protocols. But none of those explanations landed. To Janelle and her children, it sounded like excuses layered on top of years of neglect. The damage was already done. From that moment forward, Janelle stopped trying to repair what she hadn't broken. She stopped chasing conversations that went nowhere. She stopped hoping Kody would suddenly remember who he used to be as a father and partner. Instead, she shifted her focus entirely to protecting her children and reclaiming her own sense of dignity. Meanwhile, Mary was facing a reckoning of her own. For years, she had remained loyal even when affection was gone. She endured emotional distance, public humiliation, and repeated rejection, believing endurance was proof of love. But as the family unraveled, it became increasingly clear that her loyalty was one-sided. Kody no longer hid his indifference. In multiple interviews, he admitted he felt no romantic connection to Mary and had no desire to rebuild it. Hearing those words spoken out loud, after decades of marriage, was devastating. Yet in a strange way, it was also clarifying. Mary finally saw the truth. Waiting was only prolonging her pain. When she announced her departure, it wasn't dramatic. There were no shouting matches or slammed doors. It was quiet, resolute, and final. She chose peace over persistence, self-respect over nostalgia. As Janelle and Mary stepped away, Christine, who had left earlier, watched it all unfold with a mixture of sadness and validation. She had been called dramatic, impulsive, even selfish when she left. Now, as the family collapsed behind her, it became clear she had simply been first. The plural marriage experiment was effectively over. That left Kody and Robyn alone together, without the buffer of other wives to absorb conflict. And according to people close to the family, that's when new tensions began to surface. Without the presence of Janelle's financial contributions, Christine's emotional labor, or Mary's unwavering loyalty, the weight of daily life shifted dramatically. Kody, who once spread responsibility across multiple households, now faced the consequences of his decisions head-on. Robyn, too, found herself in unfamiliar territory. For years, she had been the favored wife, the one Kody confided in, prioritized, and protected. But now, she was also the only one left to shoulder the emotional and practical burden of the relationship. Sources suggest that disagreements became more frequent. Stress over money intensified. The absence of the other wives meant there was no one else to blame, no one else to compare against. The dynamic that once benefited Robyn now placed her squarely in the spotlight. And then there was the public reaction. Fans did not hold back. Social media exploded with commentary, much of it sympathetic toward Janelle, Mary, and Christine. Many viewers said they had watched the favoritism unfold for years and felt vindicated seeing the women finally walk away. Some comments were blunt, others were emotional. But the message was consistent. Kody had failed, not just as a husband, but as a father. The missed birthday became a symbol, not just of neglect, but of priorities clearly revealed. As for the future of sister wives, it remains uncertain. Ratings surged as the family imploded, but the original premise, one man, multiple wives navigating life together, no longer exists. What remains instead is a story of unraveling, accountability, and aftermath. Spin-off rumors continue to swirl. Christine's new life has drawn strong interest. Janelle's independence resonates deeply with viewers. Even Mary's quiet reinvention has captured attention. Ironically, the women who once existed in Kody's shadow are now the ones carrying the franchise forward.
And Kody?
He stands at the center of what's left. No longer a patriarch, no longer a unifier, but a man forced to confront the consequences of years of favoritism, dismissal, and emotional abandonment. The Brown family once claimed love multiplied when shared. In the end, it fractured. And for Janelle, Mary, Christine, and especially the children, the healing only truly began once they stepped away. Not even a phone call came. That was the part that hurt the most. Gabriel waited all day. Morning turned into afternoon. Afternoon into night. There was no text.
No voicemail.
No surprise visit. Nothing. The silence wasn't just noticeable, it was crushing. For a son who still believed, even a little, that his father might remember, that silence spoke louder than any argument ever could. When Gabriel finally talked about it on camera, his composure cracked. His voice trembled as he explained how he had kept checking his phone, hoping his dad would call. It felt like I didn't even exist to him anymore, he said quietly. Like I didn't matter. Those close to the family say that something shifted in Gabriel after that day. He became withdrawn, more guarded. The easy warmth he once carried dimmed. He began questioning where he fit, not just in the family, but in his father's life. The rejection wasn't dramatic, but it was deep, and it stayed with him. For Janelle, watching her son carry that pain was unbearable. She had defended Kody for years. When the kids felt disappointed, she made excuses for him. She told them he was busy, distracted, overwhelmed. She insisted he loved them, even when his actions suggested otherwise. But this time, there was no explanation that could make it okay. During one heated confrontation, Janelle finally let years of restraint fall away. You didn't even call your own son on his birthday, she told Kody. Do you have any idea how much that hurt him? Do you even care? Kody, defensive and irritated, responded with the same justification he had leaned on repeatedly. He said he was trying to protect everyone. He blamed the COVID rules. He implied that if Gabriel couldn't follow them, then the consequences were on him. But for Janelle, that response landed like a slap. This was no longer about health precautions. It was about priorities. Once again, it felt like Robyn's household came first, while everyone else was expected to understand, accept, and absorb the loss. Kody insisted he was doing what was best for the family. He said he was enforcing rules equally. But those watching, especially his own children, saw something very different. The rules seemed flexible when it came to Robyn's house. He was there constantly. Meanwhile, distance grew everywhere else. For Gabriel, the realization was devastating. The message he received was painfully clear. Some relationships were worth the risk, and some were not. And in that hierarchy, he had fallen to the bottom. To him, it felt like being told, without words, that he wasn't worth showing up for. Gabriel's siblings immediately rallied around him. Garrison and Savannah understood that pain all too well. They had felt their father slipping away for years. When Gabriel's birthday passed without acknowledgement, it confirmed everything they feared. Garrison confronted Kody directly. "You don't get to call yourself a father if you can't even pick up the phone for your kid's birthday," he said bluntly. Christine, though no longer married to Kody at that point, was deeply affected when she heard what happened. She had helped raise Janelle's children and loved them fiercely. Her response was immediate and emotional. "That's not how a dad acts," she said. "Birthdays matter." For many viewers, this moment marked a turning point. This wasn't just a missed call. It was a symbol, one that represented years of neglect, favoritism, and emotional abandonment finally becoming undeniable. Over time, the favoritism was no longer subtle. It was visible, measurable, and impossible to excuse. Kody spent most of his time at Robyn's house. He poured money into her home while others struggled. He dismissed his older children as disrespectful rather than listening to their pain. And Gabriel's birthday became the moment when everything that had been quietly endured finally surfaced. After that day, Gabriel changed. Those closest to him say he sank into a deep emotional low. He withdrew from conversations. He stopped engaging the way he used to. At one point, he said something that shattered Janelle's heart. "He's not my dad anymore.
He's just someone who used to be around."
Those weren't impulsive words. They came from years of disappointment layered on top of that final, devastating absence. And Gabriel wasn't alone. Many of Kody's older children had begun to distance themselves, emotionally and physically, as their father became more of a memory than a presence. For Janelle, this was the line she could not cross. She had tolerated neglect. She had endured inequality. She had accepted disappointment for herself. But she would not accept it for her children. A few months after Gabriel's birthday, she sat Kody down and said the words she had been holding back. "If you can't show up for your kids," she asked him, "what am I still doing here?" Her decision to walk away created another irreversible fracture in what was once a massive, interconnected family. This time, there was no going back. In later interviews, Kody maintained that he loved all his children, but with conditions. He spoke openly about respect and obedience, saying he couldn't maintain relationships with kids who challenged him. To many viewers, those statements confirmed what they already believed. Control mattered more to him than connection. When the episode featuring Gabriel's forgotten birthday aired, public reaction was swift and furious. Social media erupted. Fans expressed outrage, disbelief, and heartbreak. "How do you forget your own child's birthday?" one viewer wrote. "That's not stress, that's neglect." At the same time, many praised Gabriel for his honesty. His vulnerability resonated deeply. Parents and children alike recognized the pain he voiced, the universal hurt of feeling unseen by someone who is supposed to love you unconditionally. And Gabriel's story wasn't unique. Over the years, other Brown children shared quieter accounts of disappointment. Missed milestones, broken promises, emotional distance. Together, They painted a troubling picture of a father who gradually drifted away from many of his children. Next came Robyn Brown. As Janelle's oldest son, Logan had long stepped into the role of caretaker. When Kody was absent, Logan filled the gaps. He helped raise his siblings. He carried responsibility far beyond his years. This time, there was no going back. In later interviews, Kody maintained that he loved all his children, but with conditions. He spoke openly about respect and obedience, saying he couldn't maintain relationships with kids who challenge him. To many viewers, those statements confirmed what they already believed. Control mattered more to him than connection. When the episode featuring Gabriel's forgotten birthday aired, public reaction was swift and furious. Social media erupted. Fans expressed outrage, disbelief, and heartbreak. "How do you forget your own child's birthday?" one viewer wrote. "That's not stress, that's neglect." At the same time, many praised Gabriel for his honesty. His vulnerability resonated deeply. Parents and children alike recognized the pain he voiced, the universal hurt of feeling unseen by someone who is supposed to love you unconditionally. And Gabriel's story wasn't unique. Over the years, other Brown children shared quieter accounts of disappointment. Missed milestones, broken promises, emotional distance. Together, they painted a troubling picture of a father who gradually drifted away from many of his children. Next came Robyn Brown. As Janelle's oldest son, Logan had long stepped into the role of caretaker. When Kody was absent, Logan filled the gaps. He helped raise his siblings. He carried responsibility far beyond his years. Don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button and join our YouTube family. Thank you for your support. New videos are coming very soon.